Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem City Council. This is Jeff Pengelly, Community Development Director. This agenda item is regarding the adoption of the 2025 California Building Standards Code and Property Maintenance Codes. Codes are updated by the state of California every 3 years, and the last adoption was in 2022. The state codes are based on national model codes published by organizations, as you see on the slide. The state agencies then modify these codes to address compliance with state laws. This update to the building standards codes will become effective January 1st, 2026. And it includes the codes listed below: building code, residential, Cal Green, historical, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, etc. There is a new code added this year near the bottom, the second to the bottom bullet point. It's the California Wildland Urban Interface Code. That is a code that has taken different sections from the fire code and the building code as they pertain to wildfire protection and put them into its own separate code. We're bringing this item to council to adopt the codes and to make amendments to the codes as allowed by law. There are specific reasons we can make amendments to the codes. The first is administrative, as self-explanatory as that is. They just relate to, some of the how the process works, some of the titles of the building department, fire department, etc. Code references. The other type of amendments that we can make are technical, and they have to be based on 3 specific criteria: climatic, geologic, and topographical. An example of some of these that we have in our area are the Santa Ana wind events and the high fire hazard that is associated with those. We're in an area of high seismicity. We have a high groundwater table. We have electrical power reliability issues as they relate to critical systems such as backup power for fire pumps. And we're also a very flat city, so we have some unique drainage considerations given our flat topography. Some highlights from the amendments: we have some structural modifications and some drainage modifications. Again, lot drainage and minimum foundation elevations help prevent localized flooding. This is not associated with a specific FEMA flood hazard area. This is just localized flooding across the city due to the flat topography. We have amendments to enhance seismic safety as it is appropriate for our high seismic region and our specific soil conditions. And we also adopt some amendments that make the standards easier to follow and comply with. There's a lot of extraneous information that does not apply to our locale, such as hurricane-resistant design and things like that, that we try to edit out to make the codes a little more user-friendly. And there's also fire protection. As mentioned, we will be adopting the new Wildland Urban Interface Code and the fire code. And we have amendments that specifically facilitate local enforcement related to those specific criteria, and also as appropriate for our recently adopted fire hazard severity zone maps. As many of you are aware, a new Assembly Bill 130 was signed into law June 30th of this past summer. There's a lot in that bill, but the main headlines are the CEQA relaxation of CEQA standards. However, there's a lot more in that bill, including some limitations to changes cities can make as far as amendments go to the state codes that affect residential construction. However, all of our modifications are allowed because they follow 2 of the exclusions mentioned in that bill. The first is that there are code modifications that were made in prior code adoptions or otherwise before October 1st of this year. All of the amendments we're making are amendments that we've had in prior code adoptions. Some of them have found a new location due to code sections moving around, but we've made no new amendments to the state codes. These are just bringing forward amendments we've made in many prior past code adoption efforts. And there are some that can also be categorized in another exempt category, exempt from AB 130 restrictions. That is, there are code modifications related to home hardening as it pertains to wildfire mitigation efforts. So all of our code modifications can predominantly be categorized in the first of these exceptions and or the second one. So we are not bound by AB 130 or restricted from making these code amendments per AB 130 for those two reasons. The recommendation is that the City Council introduce and approve by first reading by title only, waiving further reading of an ordinance amending Articles 2 through 8, 15, and 16, and adding Article 19 pertaining to the California Building Code, California Residential Code, California Green Building Standards Code, California Historical Building Code, California Electrical Code, California Existing Buildings Code, the California Mechanical Code, the California Reference Standards Code, the California Plumbing Code, the California Energy Code, the California Wildland Urban Interface Code, fire codes, fire sprinklers, the International Property Maintenance Code, and the Uniform Code for the Abatement of Dangerous Buildings. This is a routine administrative item and did not go to council committee before this agenda item. Staff will be available for any questions. Thank you.